I wanted to do this podcast just to give a voice for us. You know what I mean? I mean, you're doing your thing. I checked your page out. You are doing your thing. You have so many things in your link tree. So it's just exciting to get to talk to you. So tell me
Yes. Oh, I didn't hear that last question. What was that?
about your story.
A little about my story. Well, I, of course, was diagnosed with renal failure in 2011, and that just opened up the door for me to just change, change my habits, change my purpose, and more importantly, change my perspective, because I could have, dwelled, and I did in the beginning. I was just like, why me? Like, why do I have to go through this? And why is this like I just entered my 20s, like I had my whole life ahead of me, and then the moment I realized, like, no, like everything happens for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
And God or the universe or what have you chooses people for specific missions. And I really started to change my perspective, as if, okay, I'm on this mission and I have to bring something to the people, whether it's truth, whether it's guidance, whether it be education. And as soon as I started changing my perspective, that's when opportunities just kept pouring in. And
Yeah.
I realized, like, wow, this is bigger than me. It's more than just my illness. It's a whole, like I said, community of people going through this in the dark, and they need a light. So I guess God made me the flashlight or something.
Oh, yeah. Changing the mindset, basically.
It's absolutely, definitely changed everything. Just that minor switch.
So how did you get sick? Like what happened prior, you know what I'm saying, before that?
It's really funny because with kidney disease, you don't really feel anything. At least I didn't. Like, I didn't have, like, I could just tell. This is how I looked my whole life. You can't tell anything is wrong until, like, I just felt this unbalancedness in me. I just felt like, something just doesn't feel right, and I just can't pinpoint what it is.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when I went to the doctor and saw my blood pressure was just like through the roof, like 210 over 170. And I was just like, okay, something's wrong. And sure enough, that doctor appointment that night sent me straight to the hospital for a kidney biopsy. And sure enough, we found out I was in renal failure for, I don't even know how long, until I finally saw a doctor.
Wow.
Yeah.
What is the illness that you got diagnosed with?
They diagnosed me with IgA nephropathy, and it's also known as Berger's disease.
Uh-huh.
And it's basically when your kidneys have too much protein and they just can't filter through. It's just clogged with protein.
Mm-hmm.
And my dad, being a jokester, was just like, "Oh, I guess you can't have any more burgers," So.
And that's almost the name of the disease.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Too many burgers.
So, so what did you do? Like, what when you said you changed your mindset? How did that happen? Because my thing is, it's not easy to do that. Because
Absolutely.
when you have so many doctors and all this illness, and you feel so bad and horrible, it's like some people just tell you affirmations, or you gotta believe, and it's like, I don't know how to believe. I don't know. I
Yeah.
don't know how I
Easier
feel.
said than done.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
What did you do?
Absolutely. I honestly feel like I didn't do it. Like, it really does feel like I tapped into some kind of energy that spoke to me. And I know it sounds crazy, but this is really what happened.
Yeah.
So the doctors came in and they were like, yeah, like, it's really bad. It's so bad that we don't even want you to start dialysis. We need you to get a transplant within 6 months, or you probably won't survive. And in that moment, something like, it's like a voice or something was just like, no, that's not true. There has to be a different alternative. And from then on, I was like, let me just find out on my, like, I was accepted their advice. Okay, thank you, doctor. I appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
But then I went on my own research, and I also went to get a second opinion
Yeah.
from a holistic doctor. And that's when he really gave me the invitation to dig deeper on my own. And all he did was prescribe me two books that changed my life. It was one called The Gerson Therapy, which helped me change my lifestyle. And the other one, like, I honestly could not remember the name. I've been trying to look for it, but it helped me with my mindset, like helped you really tap into your mind. And it even said, like, if you have like past traumas or anything you're keeping in, that can alternate everything physically, mentally, spiritually. And so that book was really the key that made me want to know more about how the mind works and how powerful your thoughts can be.
I love that. I love
Mm-hmm.
that. I am so,
Mm-hmm.
that is just up my alley because I'm so fascinated by that. The
Yeah,
prefrontal cortex, just the different parts of the brain.
absolutely.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
have you ever heard of Dr. Daniel Amen? He's a brain
Daniel
doctor.
Amen.
Dr.
Oh
Daniel.
no, there's so many, but I'd
Yeah,
love to get to know.
I'll send you some links about that because that's yeah, you'll love that. But I love the whole Gershon because I studied that too.
Yeah.
So you're into plant, you know what I mean, a plant-based diet. You even have your own YouTube channel called La Cocina Bonita, which
See.
I was checking it out. You're doing your thing. So tell us a little bit about that. You know what I mean? Go into that a little bit.
Right. Oh gosh, I just remember after my diagnosis, I had to be on a kidney diet and
Renal.
completely plain, completely limited, like no flavor at all. I was pissed because I loved to eat.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I come from a Mexican background, so that you take away my carne asada and tortillas, you're gonna
Yeah.
witness the lioness inside. So instead of, getting upset or sneaking and, eating what I'm not supposed to, I was just like, maybe I should try an experiment, make my favorite dishes, but good for me, friendly, kidney friendly.
Yeah.
And so I really did incorporate more herbs and spices and lots of garlic to be able to flavor my most fondest childhood recipes. And I loved the way it turned out. I would share with my family. They loved the way it turned out. I've shared with my friends. They were just like, you need to start a
Yeah.
cooking business. You need to open up a restaurant. You need to do something because it's amazing. And I was just like, okay, like I've got something here. And
Mm.
for the longest time, I wanted my own cooking channel growing up watching the Food Network with my mom every night. And she was an amazing cook because my grandmother taught her, and my grandma's from Mexico. So I have it in me, I just didn't know I can do it in a way that was kidney friendly, that was still flavorful, and that still, correlated with my own family traditions as far as food goes. And yeah, I finally just was like, you know what? I'm just going to go for it and just see what happens. Everything was just like
Yeah.
learning as I go kind of thing. And I fell in love with it. I'm having a blast doing it.
Building your own empire. That's how it starts. Like you're gonna have your own
Hmm.
cooking channel on TV if that's what you want. You know what I mean?
That's the goal. This empress is ready for anything at this point.
We need that because you're right. The renal diet is just so bland and it's not even healthy. It's not even healthy. I look at the books that I mean, they're trying to get a little bit better as far as like, because I work with my nutritionists and my doctors personally, and they know what I'm doing in my own personal life because I'm doing so well. Like I'm doing very good.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a matter of, I mean, doing your own research. You have to do your own research because doctors, they only know so much, and they go by the book. So it's like you have to integrate
Yeah.
integrative medicine. So it's not like they're diabolical and they're like, oh, I'm just gonna keep everybody sick. You know what I mean? They're just doing what they
They
know.
abide by certain rules. Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely. And that's it. Like you said, doing your own research is very important because everybody's body is different. So you really do have to find what works for you.
mm-hmm. I love that. So, where are you at now in life? Because I know you're doing home hemo. Is that correct? Or what are you
I
doing?
am. I am. I was trying to do home hemo,
Yeah.
especially when COVID hit. I was like, oh, I will not step foot out of this door if I don't have to. But unfortunately, I was in my training, I was doing everything, putting myself on, I was getting it right. But the moment I started the treatment, they use a different dialysate than they do in center. It's
Yeah.
pre-made. And whatever preservative that's in it, whatever, that solution, I'm allergic to because I swelled up. My whole body broke out into a rash. My hair was falling out. I was just like, okay, I can't. And I tried to hold on. And that was just the first day I tried it. I did it again. I did it again. And it just got worse and worse and worse. And I was like,
You're a warrior.
I can't do this. I know. I'm like, all right, I think I should stop.
Yeah. Wow. That is crazy, man. I had a little bit of complications when I first started, and we thought it was that I was allergic to the sac too, but thank God it was something else. I didn't know that could happen.
Yeah, I didn't either. And then another thing happened that my blood, because you still have your saline bags and everything. For some reason, my blood was going through the wrong tube and it was going into the saline bag and
Yeah.
filling up with blood. I was like, oh, okay, this is not right.
That happens when you confuse the lines. You put the
Oh,
arterial with the venous. So I've done
yeah,
that a few
oh my
times. It will
goodness.
scare the shit out of you.
Yeah, it was scary. I was like,
But
did I break it? But I'm in center still, unfortunately, but I do put my own needles in because I have just had too many bad experience with technicians. But
do you
that's
use
where I'm
button
at.
needles?
I wish I did. As soon as I started treatment, they had just stopped using it. And even like when they said, oh, we don't do that anymore, I still tried to make my own buttonhole like secretly. And I got caught and was like, you can't do
Well,
that.
see,
So,
this see, it's interesting because it's getting weird. Or because I know that they tried to discontinue that. You know what I mean? The buttonhole needles, but
mhm.
I've actually gotten into arguments with dialysis managers in center before because I've been on buttonhole needles for years and my track, you know what I'm saying, they're there.
Yeah.
And there's no more pain now. And the thing is like,
Mhm.
so I had to tell them, no, you're gonna order these. You know what I mean? And
Exactly.
you have rights as a dialysis.
Yeah, you have to speak
Yeah,
up, and they have no choice but to abide by your rules. And a lot of patients don't know that.
they work for you, you know, the doctors, that's
Exactly.
their team, you know. It's
Hmm.
it's almost like you get intimidated or scared because there's so many patients and they're doctors they just have so much on their plate. I think too much sometimes. You know,
Absolutely. Hmm.
but I mean it goes back to what we were saying about doing your own research and I mean honestly I think it just takes people like us to stand up for people that they have their own life and their own drama or whatever it is and they don't have the el mente, you know what I'm saying, to do that. The mind.
Yeah. Yeah.
It can be stressful. It can be very stressful.
Oh, absolutely. It's overwhelming every single day. So they did, like, I celebrated a mother-in-law's birthday and I made her favorite meal, but I still made it vegan and everything so I can have it. But I did add the extra sodium so it's not so plain. So I
Mhm.
paid for the consequences. I'm like a little swollen today, but
You
it
don't
was worth it.
look great. You don't look like a dialysis patient to this day, you know.
Oh, thank you. You were so kind. I know you too, man.
I'm
You
glowing.
look amazing yourself.
I'm glowing. It's a lot
Literally.
of sun. It's a lot of sun and plant-based diet. I really am on a plant-based diet. That's what I really walk the
Mhm.
walk and live the life that I preach about. Or if you see my
Exactly.
content, that's really me.
Same here. And that's it. We're living proof that there's another way. It's not just doctor's orders. It's
Yes,
your intuition's orders, like what feels right. Like really the body has a mind of its own.
it does. It really does. And
Hmm.
when you can tap into that, like we were talking about the ancestors, because that's a big part
Yeah.
of it too. La comida,
Uh-huh.
it's a huge part of it. So I tell all my clients and my students, you know, you got to learn about having a high frequency, nutrient dense diet. Because
Hmm.
you'll start to raise the vibration and you know what I mean? You know what I mean? Go ahead.
Absolutely, absolutely. I wanted to just tell you. I remember I was feeling really ill after treatment, and all my body wanted was just fresh food, nothing cooked. Like just wanted I wanted a huge quinoa salad filled with vegetables, and I was making it, taking my time with it. That's another thing. You have to take your time. You have to be present when you're making food. You give your energy to what you're eating, you know, give it love, you know, give it positivity, give it, you know, light, all I could say. And I remember I was cutting the cucumbers and the bell peppers, and I had two of each kind of vegetable. And I remember I held one cucumber in one hand and the other in the other hand. And then I almost felt like a tingling to them. And I was like, that's kind of weird. And when I put them both together in one hand, I can feel the vibration like, wow, this is live food with nutrients. Like I can literally feel the energy that this can provide for me. And I was just so ready. I made like the biggest salad ever. And it was honestly the best tasting salad I've ever made. Like, I didn't even add like dressing or seasoning. It was just the greens, the quinoa, and the toppings. And that's all it needed.
Yeah, you get to a point where it's like you crave healthy food. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
I,
Absolutely.
yeah, so I love that. I really do. It gets me pumped.
Mhm.
I'm excited to go eat something.
Exactly. And I'm so happy, you know, we found each other where we're on that same frequency of the importance of, like you said, a high, dense, nutrient based diet.
Yes,
Mm.
absolutely. Just spreading that word out because, I've noticed more people, the people that just have a sad diet, a standard American diet, they're low in frequency. Their light, their inner light is very dim. You know,
Mm-hmm.
so it's they're just always sad. And I was like that too for a very long time.
Mm-hmm.
I was on so many
Mm-hmm.
blood pressure medications, anxiety medications, pain, all that stuff. So I mean that segue into my next question. So as far as medications, what do you do now? What do you take now as far as that? If you don't mind me asking. You don't have to
Oh,
go.
yeah, of course. Oh, no, it's not a problem. I actually only take blood pressure medication and just my phosphorus binders.
Yeah.
And I'm on four blood pressure medications, but since, you know, eating well and everything, I only take two of them and the other two if I need them. Like they're prescribed as needed kind of thing. So it's pretty cool.
I used to be on 5 different blood pressure medications. Five. And they
Damn.
were like
I'm
controlled.
sorry.
No, no,
Dang.
man, this is a podcast for everybody. If you have a little fuck in there, go ahead, say whatever you want. Just don't go crazy. But
Exactly.
yeah, amlodipine, lisinopril,
Hmm.
the heavy ones. And when I learned about breath work, and again the high frequency diet and food,
Hmm.
just applying that, and really being consistent enough. Ooh, I started to get so good, and now all I take is my binders because
Yeah.
the kidneys are so hurt still. But I truly believe that the body and the spirit is so strong with the right environment, with the right food, fasting, breath work, meditation. You
Hmm.
can revive and repair the damage. You know what I mean?
Yes,
You know what I mean?
absolutely. Oh, dude, you are my brother in mentality. Like that is exactly how I feel. And I'll be honest, you know, I'm gonna be honest. I have almost had four kidney transplants, and that I didn't want. I'm still afraid to get a transplant because it's like there has to be another answer. Like if I get this transplant, I am forever in these doctors' debts because I have to go in, make sure this kidney's good. Eventually, I mean, it doesn't last forever. Eventually, I have to, you know, find another one and then start out again. And going back to the beginning of this, like I almost had four transplants and every single one fell through. And it's for a reason, you know. The very last one, I was pissed. I was like, why does this keep happening? Like, I try and fail, try, like, what's going on? I was like out a treatment when this happened. And I threw the blanket over my head because I was so upset that I had to still be in the chair. And then, like, we talk about like an ancestor or something, like, it was a voice in my head was like, take off your blanket, look around, and you'll see why you're still here.
Yeah.
And so I did it. I like took my blanket off and I looked around and it just changed everything. You just see these people just suffering. You see these people just by themselves, not knowing what to do, oxygen tanks, you know, wheelchairs, amputated limbs. And then like I looked around and just felt gratitude that I wasn't there yet. And the voice was like, this is why you're still here. You have to help these people.
Yeah.
And I was just like, oh, okay.
It's a cross.
So
It's a hell of a cross to bear along with your own cross. You know what I mean?
absolutely, absolutely. You're like bearing your own and then carrying others on top of it because your job is to help people. Anybody who's here on this purpose is to assist others in some form.
Mhm. Yeah.
Mhm.
Even with your presence, you know. Sometimes my goal is to like, all right, today I'm just gonna make everybody smile.
Oh,
Whoever I come in contact with, because you could feel somebody's energy. Like, let's say you're gonna go to the store and the cashier is just like, you feel that, it's like, But then I try
you
to,
can, yeah,
I mean, try to find something to relate, to make sense.
exactly.
You know, it's fun.
Yes, that's how I do too. Like if I see somebody like that, especially a cashier, because that's all I go is grocery shopping,
Mhm.
and they're miserable, of course, like I wouldn't want to be there in their position. I'll try to like say a joke or, compliment, like, oh, I like your hair, any little thing just to get them out of that just for the moment.
Mhm.
And then usually like their attitude changes. The next customer comes like, hi, how are you? Like, did you find everything you need today? Like,
Yeah,
it's contagious.
you
Love
spread
is
it. Yeah,
contagious.
you do spread.
Hmm.
You become the pebble, like I always tell you. You become the pebble that creates the ripples, and you do
Uh-huh.
that as many times as you want to. You know, you really love it.
Exactly.
Please.
Yes.
More people need to, you know what I mean? And more people are waking up, and more people are becoming
Oh
just
yeah.
aware of themselves. You know?
Yeah. And what's usually funny is like the people who are given these unfortunate circumstances are usually the ones to wake up a little sooner because
Mhm.
their world has been shattered.
Mhm.
And it's like, okay, like I now know tomorrow is not promised. What can I do today just to make it a little better here?
Yeah. So you mentioned 4 kidney transplants. That I did not know that about you. That got a whisper. That blew
Yeah,
my mind.
I
What?
almost had them. And each one, like one by one, it like, oh, I can't do it anymore. Oh, I want to do this before I get serious with that. Or, something came up and I have to do this now. Or, like, or one person gave me a choice. Like they're like, I'm giving you this because I love you and you're my friend. But if you know, try to use a healthy diet or go against doctor's orders, we can't be friends anymore. I'm like, then I don't want it. Like, can't.
Like, what kind of rules is this? Okay, any rules
Yeah.
on my life? All right. Um,
Yeah. It's really difficult. And it's like, I love you and I thank you so much. But something in me is telling me to go a different way. I appreciate it. I appreciate you. I appreciate it's a huge, it's not an easy thing to commit to at all or even want to do, but for some reason it just doesn't seem for me at the moment.
you know what? And I resonate with that. And we have a lot of similarities because I had one transplant. My mother gave me her kidney when I was
Hmm.
13 years old, but because of the illness that I got or whatever, it destroyed her kidney. You know,
Oh my goodness.
within a couple of months, I didn't have a chance to. I was 13 years old. I was just a baby when it happened. You know,
Yeah.
so it happened so fast. It happened so fast, and they never told us about reoccurrence. You know, and that's exactly what happened. So I literally got put on dialysis right after, but they gave me the option of having a transplant or going on dialysis, and I already went through the transplant route. It's like I'm not gonna go through that hell again.
Yeah.
It's like
I can't even imagine, especially so young. Like that's gonna traumatize you.
he did. I mean, what already happened was traumatic enough. You know what I mean? The prednisone, and I remember looking myself in the mirror, and when I was finally able to walk, I had the catheter, IVs,
Hmm.
neck, and I didn't recognize myself. You know what I mean? I couldn't recognize myself. I literally did like one of these.
Oh my
You know what I
gosh.
mean? Like, yeah,
Yeah.
because it's just so much to go through. And I had friends, and I've had ex-girlfriends and other friends that were just like, I'll give you a kidney, I'll do this, I'll do that. But something inside of me, like in you, was like, there's something else. No, there's something else. Spirit's talking.
Yeah.
So in 2014, I actually went to Hawaii with the help of my
Mm.
family and friends.
Aw.
I was able to go to this retreat with this amazing man who I trained with named Dr. Robert Kassar. And for 21 days, I did like a juice vegan. But for the first 8 days, excuse me, I did just water. I only drank water. I didn't eat anything. Just
Yeah.
distilled. It had crystals in it. You know what I mean? Like
Oh yeah.
crystals. And these are actually I got these from Hawaii. That's where I
Oh
got
my
them from. Yeah.
gosh.
So
That's powerful.
it is. And I
Mm,
felt it. Lily, I'm telling you, when
mm-hmm.
you feel it, I felt it. So that
Hmm.
opened the door. That opened the door and I was like, oh wow, this is real. And
Yeah.
ever since then, so I just started to learn about diet. I started to learn about high frequency foods, just spirulina,
Yeah.
chlorella, you know what I
Oh
mean?
yeah. Oh yeah.
For foods, because it's like a hierarchy. You go through, standard American diet, then it goes to organic, then it goes to heirloom, then it goes to like closer to light energy. You know what I mean? And wow, man, like, so I'm in it now. I'm in it now. But my thing is this. So I understand that the FSGS that I got that hurt my kidneys, the focal segmental glomerulosclerosis, it scarred the kidneys. I understand that. So I give the analogy or the description of, so it was like a hurricane. And when I was 13 years old, the hurricane came through my body and it just did damage. It just created
Mm-hmm.
damage. But now the hurricane is gone. But the houses and the land is still damaged, the kidneys.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Now the squad or the spirits, whatever, they have to come repair it, rebuild.
Yeah.
The team,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? And
Uh-huh.
and that's what I'm doing. And man, when I tell you I have blood work that is showing how good that all this diet and all this stuff is working. Like the
Uh-huh.
doctor's even like, Marcelo, what are you doing? Whose blood work are you stealing? Like, I've never seen blood work this good before. So
Wow. Yes. Oh my God. I mean, it's giving me so much hope just hearing your everything. I love it. And it just validates that we are on the right track and just to keep going. Like I said, it's going to take time and we've got all the time in the world, baby. We got
I love that. I mean, we could talk for hours, but I want to, to wrap it up because I don't got that much. I got basic Zoom. It's like 40 minutes, you know what I mean? Next time we'll do like an hour, a full hour. But I did want to ask you, so what are your goals for the next 3 to 5 years? What do you see yourself doing? Where do you see yourself at? And what is Lily trying to accomplish?
My goal is to just get everybody on our frequency, just educate and share proof and share stories. So I'm actually working on a kidney retreat, or I'm calling it renal retreat
Love it.
for all the renal rebels out there. It's not going to be like no 21-day or 30-day. It's just a 2-day retreat. Anybody can do it anytime, anywhere. So I'm in the process of creating that. So I'm excited.
Love it. Let's promote that. You know what I mean? You send me the links or send me whatever the stuff, and I'll promote it on my page for real.
Oh my God, that would be wonderful. Thank you so much.
Okay, and this will be my last question for Lily in the present moment to baby Lily, young Lily when all this happened. If you
Mhm.
could talk to yourself, like what would you tell yourself back then? You know what I'm saying?
Ooh, do not be afraid.
Mhm.
That's really the best advice is do not be afraid and just use this information to your advantage because you can change your entire universe,
Mm,
but you just have to keep that spark of hope. So moral of the story, never lose hope.
I love that. I wish I had sound effects. I'm gonna have a sound effect board. I can play some music or something. I love that so much, and I appreciate you. I appreciate you coming and talking with
Oh,
me. I had a lot
of
of fun.
course. Thank you for having me. It was so nice talking to you too.
It kind of was a little rocky because I was just figuring everything out. I had my laptop and all this stuff here, but it worked out. It worked out pretty good.
Always. It always will.
Had fun though.
Sending you so much love. Thank you for having me. Hopefully we could talk again, do this soon. This was fun.
Absolutely. We should get